It's 7 o'clock. So I say good evening to everyone. Good evening. Gonna wait till some people come on in. Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Okay, I am Whitney Britton here with the announcements for today's live. I pray that you all had a wonderful weekend and your hearts are prepared for the word of the Lord offered here every single Monday at 7 o'clock. Today's topic discussion is led by Prophet Monica Boney, as always. And we're currently discussing the topic of hurt. If this word has blessed you thus far and you feel an unctioning to sow a seed, please do so through Zelle at multitalented8@gmail.com or through Cash App money sign Monica 8. Again, that's Zelle multitalented8 at gmail.com or Cash App money sign Monica 8 as we are populating the kingdom. That's the primary goal of our resources, our finances, is to assist and to aid in populating the kingdom. All right, family, that's all the announcements for this evening, today's live. I pray that this word blesses you. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Greetings, greetings, greetings to all. Thank you, Whitney. Um, I pray, as she has said, that you guys had a great weekend. I hope you got some rest too, because rest is important. It helps us to be healed. It helps us to hear clearly. It helps us to not be so emotional. Rest is a good thing. And so I hope you got some of it in the process of having some fun and enjoying your weekend. Yes, and I want to continue. We are talking about overcoming hurt, and there are so many things that have come to my consciousness as I explore this. And one of the things that I want to interject, because my studies have kind of shifted into a place where I recognize that there's so much more for us to learn and so much more space for us to grow. And if we get beyond this point, boy, the great side, the other side of hurt and pain is a beautiful place. And so I want to, as long as you need them, keep your training wheels on. But I will tell you the goal is to get off the training wheels and just be functional and be a kingdom populator, a kingdom dweller. So one of the things I just kind of want to talk with you, because in some of the people that I've had to counsel in this week, what I realized that many of the pains, many of the hurts, many of the things that cause grief in the heart of people happened in childhood. And with that, um, you may not be able to be aware that this is the root of your pain. You might not even be aware that this is why you have the certain kinds of things are reoccurring in your life. You might not be aware of that because it's just your life and it was your first time having the experience of life that you have. That's why you need a community. That's why you need mentors. That's why you need pastors, teachers, prophets, leaders. That's why you need those people, because they help you to see what you cannot see. The other part is, while we read, for us that are believers, we read the Bible. We read the Bible because the Bible exposes our weaknesses and teaches us how to overcome them. But in a place and time when you're not believing the Bible or even engage into what the Bible says, I can understand how you were looking for answers in wrong places. I really can understand that, how you might run to a relationship or run to a substance or run to spending a lot of money or run to eating a lot or whatever your vice could be. I can understand why you would choose that, because actually all persons are looking for an escape, looking for a way to ease the pain. So it's understandable, especially when you don't understand, why do I feel this way? Why do these things keep occurring in my life? That's a big question. And I'm saying to you today that Father is saying that there are some places where the wounds have entered that happened in our formative years when we should have been taught well, protected well, loved well, and we were not. And so we migrate to the things that seem normal and they end up hurting us worse. So it really is not the other person, even though it looks like the other person. It's actually us who have had broken spaces, wounded spaces that were not addressed. And the part about it is that we attract what we are on the inside. I'm sorry to tell you that, but we do. So if we have low self esteem, the people that come to us are either predators to those who have low self esteem, or those who have low self esteem as well, and it's trauma bonding. That's never a good place, because at the end of the day, the weak becomes weaker, and the weak becomes weaker, and the weak becomes weaker. So we don't want to do that. We want to, and that's another one of my motivations to come in and to talk about it, because I've experienced where I'm thinking I'm getting help, and in actuality, I am not. I'm not getting help. I'm getting worse, because that the person who I'm reaching to help for to help me, they can't help me because they're in the same posture. So you have to reach out in a community where you're safe. I encourage all of us to find a spiritual leader, a one who has had ample experiences in certain areas that could help us to grow or help you to grow. And this platform in this particular segment that we're talking to is geared in that direction. Okay, so what I realize is that whatever has made our heart weak, cause us to faint, it is in our mind first. And what happens is it plays over and over and over and over and over in our minds, which means that the times that we could be being creative, productive, is being impeded, because we are now thinking on those things that are negative. And so it is imperative that we learn to control our self talk, our thought life. In the Christian world, we say, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are just. It says, if there be anything praiseworthy, that we are to think on these things. And that's not an easy challenge. That's not easy. You know why? Because we haven't had any experience in practicing on how to change what we're thinking. I told you, I think a couple of weeks ago, that my father used to say laughter was a good shock absorber. Yeah, Pastor Boney used to say, Monica, learn to laugh. So I want to give that to you again, that sometimes we take things too seriously. And the goal of that is so that we may become extra sensitive and extra emotional and cannot able to think through our circumstances because all we're doing is feeling as opposed to thinking. So it says that our cognitive skills are impaired when our emotional spaces are overloaded. When we are deep in our emotional space, the cognitive part of us, our ability to think rational and make good decisions, are clogged. They're clogged because the emotions are bigger. I want to suggest to you today that the God we love and serve is bigger than any emotional stupor that we can find ourselves in. And at the moment in time when we're experiencing, there is nothing that will change our mind. We believe what we're experiencing is facts and how I'm acting is right. So it's not that easy to submit to a suggestion that maybe there's another way to get this done. And so, in our process of healing, in our process of getting into a new space, we have to face into it. One of the things that we like to do by sedating our pain is running. It's a form of running. Medicating our pain is a form of running from what we're experiencing. So I'm not going to feel it 100%. Why? Because I'm going to do something to medicate this emotional stupor, this pain that's in my soul, in my mind, my will, and my emotions. I'm going to do something. So what am I going to do? You tell me. What are your choices when you dealing with pain? What is your choice? You tell me. And so if those are your choices and it's working, meaning that you don't have to have that experience and that response to a situation anymore, then well, I guess we continue. But if you be honest, you would say it's the same thing. Yeah, I got drunk. When I woke up, my problem was still here. Oh yeah, I ran out and I spent all my money. But when I looked at my bank account, I had a new problem. My problems are still there. So that's not an option. It's not an option. Been there, done that. It doesn't work. It's a temporary fix, but it doesn't heal. I've been on medicine since 2018, sad to say. And it dawned on me a couple of weeks ago, wow, this is a long time to take medicine. And by this time, if the medicine was working, I wouldn't need it anymore because it doesn't take that long for anything to work, right? What I observe is in the veterinarian business, if a horse or a cat or a dog is sick, you don't find them on medicine for the rest of their lives. Whatever they take, they get well and going on living their animalistic life, but not we as people. So there's another option. There's another option. So I'm saying to do the same thing over and over again and expecting new results is insanity. Did I call you insane? No, I said the behavior is insane. I'm saying the pattern is insane. So we have to find a new thing. Um, and I want to read the scripture. It's in Job. It has so many places in here that will help us to see newness. Help us to see newness. Help us to see newness. It says, acquaint yourself. So everyone in the audience, I'm asking you to acquaint yourself with Father. Acquaint yourself with God. Acquaint yourself with Him. And once you do that, you will find peace. Because when He ascended, He said, my peace I leave you, not of this world. My peace I leave you, not of this relationship. My peace I leave you, not of your bank account. My peace I leave you, not of your best friend. He says, my peace I leave you, not of this world. And he says, and the innocent laugh at them. So he's asking us, surely, he said, like surely you're going to have adversaries, but the peace of God will laugh at them. You cause it to come down. You don't have to prevail. The disquietness in your soul does not have to prevail because God has given us his peace. Isn't that special? I had to run to him this morning. I'm not telling you something that I read or heard about. I'm telling you what I experienced this morning. I found myself curling up and cuddling up in his arms in my mind's eye. He says above whatever you can think or imagine. So in my imagination, I was in God's arms. It was such a safe place, such a loving and adoring place. hmm hmm And I want to encourage you there, because even though, yes, it's wounds, yes, it hurts, but he says that he was well acquainted with our hurt and our pain. Well acquainted. That means there's nothing shocking to him. Nothing shocks him. Nothing makes him go, "What? I can't believe it." Nothing. Sometimes you can say, if your daughter or your son come and tell you something, or your mom or your dad or your coworker come and tell you stuff, some things you're just like, "I can't believe it." Like, what? You're shocked. But God is never shocked. Why? Because he knows all things. He sees all things. He hears all things. And before we get to that, it's already there. He says, "I am, I was, I am, and I am to come." So he's past, present, and future. There's all at the same time. He does not make a misstep. He does not make a misstep. Okay, so be acquainted with his peace that he gives you. And when you're there, good will come to you. So this is something that I really want you to concentrate on. Watch this. He says good will come to you. And earlier I was saying that sometimes you find yourself in a pattern of things over and over and over again happening to you. Well, question is, are you full of peace, or are you full of confusion, doubt, worry, and unbelief? So that the good is blocked. I just want you to think it through. This is not accusatory. The end of the day is that if we face into the matter, we will get better, because the anticipation. There's a man I wanted to bring to your attention. This is my third or second time being exposed to his teachings. But what he did is he took water and he spoke to the water. And he said, "This water is beautiful, wonderful." He spoke loving and kind and gentle words to the water. And he played peaceful and calm music to the water. And then to another container of water, he said, "You're ugly, you're this, you're that." He said all kind of negative things to that water. And then he froze the water. And there was a distinct difference between the crystals and the shapes that the water took, as opposed. So the one that was spoke to positively, they looked more beautiful. The one was spoke to negatively, it looked horrible. So one of the ways for you to draw the goodness to you is through your speech, in what you say and in what you do. So he says, receive, receive instructions from his mouth, and lay up his words in your heart. So his words in your heart will be like the words in the water. The water that had good words became beautiful crystals. The water that had bad words became ugly. And this just not something that you wanted. One of the belief systems that I have had is, where I live, we don't argue. There's been some changes in some of my experiences, but I make it a point that we because it changes the atmosphere. It changes the atmosphere. The atmosphere is changed when harsh words are spoken. As you're saying, as we're talking now, that's why we have to talk about hurt and pain. Why? Because the words change the atmosphere, the inside of us. The words changed how we felt on the inside. Abandonment, neglect, poverty, All of these things changed our inside. So, in order to undo that, we have to go back to peace. We have to go back to the places that show God's love. And what's so amazing about it, God is not just a shower of love, God is love. And He heals the brokenhearted. The Bible is telling us, I'm in Proverbs, I'm sorry, I'm Job 22nd. That's just reading. It says this. It says, and if you return to the Almighty, you will be built up. The antidote to low self esteem is to prefer one another in love and to build up each other. So if you have ran away from God and you've gone to different places, different people, different opportunities, you cannot be built up because most of the time people are looking for you to fall. Why? Because they don't have that build up in them. Every now and then you'll run across someone who says, I know you could do better than that. Press to the mark of the prize of the high calling which is in Christ Jesus. Often you'll run into people who are saying, girl, I knew she wasn't nothing. Look at her. She's trying to act like she all that. She ain't nothing. That negative piece, the negative piece. So I want to encourage you as you're healing from those things that cause you pain, as you're healing from those things that made you feel a little unstable, that you recognize that you were created in the image and the likeness of God, and the peace that surpasses all understanding is what He has offered you. He has offered you peace. Get a good piece of it. A PEICE of the PEACE. And get a good piece of God's peace so that you won't have to struggle in any other way than you've had to. All right, one other thing. When you embrace God's peace, you remove the negative from your tent. You remove the negative from your home. You remove the negative from your life. That's a strategy. You don't have to change people because sometimes people don't want to change. They like how they are. But you can change what happens in your tent, in your environment. You can release, relate, relax, and let God. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I keep saying I have this is the last piece, but one more thing I want to say is that if you are pondering over and over again that thing that hurt you, you're giving strength to it. And if you want it to die, you got to replace it with thoughts that are lovely, pure, just, and of good report. Bottom line. And guess what? It's a struggle and it's a work. It doesn't happen automatically just because you woke up. It doesn't. You have to work at it. You have to pull down the strongholds and everything that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. Because I'm trying to tell you that on the other side of this, I'm through with hurting. Wow, it's an oasis. You like, what the? No wonder the enemy was fighting me like this. No wonder I couldn't get over this emotional place. Look what God had in store for me. Look who He wanted me to help and get through this ditch. Look what God wanted me to do. I couldn't do it because I was too involved in emotional stupor. And then you're gonna be mad that it took that long for you to get the understanding. Yeah. But let's get it. Let's get it. We can do it. Nothing to it but to do it. This has been Prophet Monica Boney. I'm sending love your way. I hope to see you next Monday. Please like and share. Check it out on YouTube if you missed it. You can go back and look. It'll be posted there. All right. Have a great evening. You know what I forgot to do?
What? What'd you forget to do?
I was supposed to go on Facebook. I thought about it earlier to announce that it's going to be Monday.
Oh, you didn't announce it?
I forgot. I think I'm going to get a job to somebody. Maybe I'll give it to one of the Jira team and they'll feel included.
Maybe so, for sure. My laptop died.
Did it?
Mm-hmm. So I was engaging, but then I had to stop because I didn't have nothing to engage in. And my phone was over.
That's funny.
And I didn't want to reach across it because that would have been a distraction. Hey, look at this though. Genesis 8:21. I was reading it yesterday, but I want you to read it and tell me what you think about it.
Mm. 8:21.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord smelled a soothing aroma. Then the Lord said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground for man's sake. That's me.
Yeah, that's me.
Although the imagination of man's heart is evil from the youth, nor will I again destroy everything, living thing as I have done. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, winter and summer, and the day and the night shall be not cease now. Okay.
And the fact that he said that the the man's heart is evil from his youth. And then another version says from childhood.
Mm-hmm.
She called my phone.
Give it to me.
I don't know.
You can leave it on it, okay?
Greetings, callers. I'm sorry I'm not a... Hey, Mama.
Yes, sweetheart.
Live still on. Just want you to know.
The what?
Your live is still on. It's still live.
Where?
On YouTube.
Oh, I thought I put in stream on it.
It's still streaming.
Am I talking?
Yes, ma'am.
And they hear? You hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that's funny.